Hey everybody, back with part 2 today of chapter 10 of our series of unfortunate event book. And as you can see, Boo Boo here has decided that he's going to join us for our reading. I don't know how long he'll hang out with us, but for now, here he is. Say hi, Boo Boo. Say hi. Okay. Now, Count Olaf was increasing the suspense when we left off. How clever, the reporter said, snapping her gum in excitement. I can see the headline now. Count Olaf increases suspense. I learned how to amaze crowds by working extensively as a famous actor, Count Olaf said, smiling at the reporter and still holding up the piece of paper. Be sure to write that down. I will, the reporter said breathlessly, and held her microphone closer to Olaf's mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, Count Olaf cried, I am now unfolding the first fold in the piece of paper. Oh boy, cried several members of the audience. Hooray for the first fold! There are only 5 folds left, Olaf said. Only 5 more folds and we'll know which freak will be thrown to the lions. This is so exciting, cried the man with the dyed hair. I might faint. Just don't faint into the pit, his wife said. I am now unfolding the second fold in the piece of paper, Count Olaf announced. Now there are only 4 folds left. The lions roared impatiently, as if they were tired of all this nonsense with a piece of paper, but the audience cheered for the increased suspense and paid no attention to the beasts in the pit, gazing only at Count Olaf, who smiled and blew kisses to the carnival visitors. The Baldiers, however, were no longer looking over the heads of the crowd to watch Olaf do his shtick, a phrase which here means increased suspense by slowly unfolding a piece of paper printed with the name of someone who was supposed to jump into the pit of lions. They were taking advantage of the fact that no one was watching them and stepped as close as they could to one another so that they could talk without being overheard. Do you think we could sneak around the pit to the roller coaster carts? Klaus murmured to his sister. I think it's too crowded, Violet replied. Do you think we could get the lions not to eat anyone? No, I think they're too hungry, Klaus said, squinting down at the growling beasts. I read a book about large feline animals that said if they're hungry enough, they'll eat practically anything. Is there anything else you've read about lions that can help us? Violet asked. I don't think so, Klaus replied. Is there anything you can invent from that fan belt that can help us? I don't think so, Violet replied. Her voice was faint with fear. Deja vu, Sunny called up to her siblings, and she meant something along the lines of, we must be able to think of something that can help us. We've escaped from bloodthirsty crowds before. Sunny's right, Klaus said. When we lived at Heimlich Hospital, we learned about stalling a crowd, when we postponed Olaf's scheme to operate on you. And when we lived at the village of foul devotees, Violet said, we learned about mob psychology. When we watched all the villagers get so upset they couldn't think clearly. But what can we do with this crowd? What can we do now? Both, Sunny murmured, and then growled quickly in case anyone was listening. I unfolded the paper again, Count Olaf crowed, and I probably do not have to tell you that he explained there were only 3 folds left, or that the crowd cheered him once more, as if he had done something very brave or very noble. I probably do not have to tell you that he announced the remaining 3 folds, as if they were still very exciting events, and that the crowd cheered him each time, eagerly awaiting the violence and sloppy eating that would follow. And I probably don't even have to tell you what was written on the piece of paper, because if you have read this far in this wretched book, then you are well acquainted with the Baldier orphans, and you know what kind of freakish luck they have. See, a person with normal luck would arrive at a carnival in comfortable circumstances, such as a double-decker bus, or on the back of an elephant, and would probably have a pleasant time enjoying all the things a carnival has to offer, and would feel happy and content at the end of their stay. But the Baldiers had arrived at Calgary Carnival in the trunk of an automobile, and had been forced to put themselves in uncomfortable disguises, take part in a humiliating show, and place themselves in dangerous circumstances, and as if their freakish luck would have it, had not even found the information they were hoping to discover. So it probably will not be a surprise to you to learn that Hugo's name was not printed on the piece of paper in Count Olaf's hand, or Colette's name, or the name of Kevin, who was clasping his equally skilled hands together in nervousness as Olaf unfolded the paper completely. It will not surprise you that when Count Olaf announced what the paper finally said, the eyes of the entire crowd fell on the disguised children. but although you might not be surprised at Count Olaf's announcement, you might be surprised at the announcement that one of the siblings made immediately afterward. "Ladies and gentlemen," Count Olaf announced, "Beverly and Elliot, the two-headed freak, will be thrown to the lions today." "Ladies and gentlemen," Violet Baldier announced, "we are thrilled to be chosen." And that is the end of Chapter 10. I hope everybody's still staying safe and healthy and happy, and we'll see you guys as soon as we can. We miss you.